what a beautiful honor and tribute to Sabrina. So thank you, team. Thank you, Al. It was a perfect combination of that song and the dance. So wonderful. Thank you so much. So this year here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, we are working with the theme of spirituality in action. And not only here at Riverside, but for Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, we're working with this theme. And this month's theme, we are working with the theme of respecting all people and all nations, respecting other people and other nations. And before we do any more of that, I want to take a nice deep breath. And let's do our focus statement, shall we? All right, here we go. With all the V's, vim, vigor, velocity, vivaciousness, voluptuousness, and all the other V's. All right, here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Ooh, and so it is, yes. Thank you for that. Ooh, God bumps this morning. Yes, that was much better. Thank you. All right, so we are talking about honoring all people today. And when we discuss the idea of honoring, when we look at the idea of honoring, some interesting things came to mind, especially at the morning table this morning. We always have the morning table at 9 a.m. where we have real relevant discussions, real relevant conversations. And that's at 9 a.m. in Johnson Hall. And one of the things that one of our folks who was there this morning brought forth when I posed the question is, what does the word honor mean to you? Or what does honoring mean to you? And he was really able to distill it down and boil it down to something really quite beautiful and really quite powerful. And that was affirming presence. Yeah, right? Affirming presence. That when we honor someone, that we are being with someone, that we are affirming their presence. And not only are we reaffirming their presence, but we are affirming the presence with a capital P. We're affirming the presence within them. Isn't that a powerful statement? Yeah. So, as we explore this idea of affirming presence and honoring all people, as I was doing my prep work for this week, I came across this really wonderful video. And the video is done by an organization called Soul Pancake. Fun, right? Soul Pancake, right? You can look them up on YouTube. It's done by Soul Pancake, and they created a series of videos called How You See Me. And they looked at different groups, as we've been talking about this month. They looked at different groups and different cultures, and they got them all together and to talk about how people see them, how people see their group that they identify with. And after 9 of these videos, then they did 3 more videos where the cast of How You See Me got together and really chatted and explored some other ideas. And there's this video here that I want to share with you this morning because it really ties in with, one, honoring all people, but it also ties in with how we have been talking about the subject and approaching the subject of respecting each other, respecting all nations, and respecting other people. And so I invite you to, normally I don't do a video in the middle of service like this, but this was just so good and so rich that I wanted to make sure to be able to share it with you. So I invite you to watch this video, and then we'll pick up our conversation on the other side of the video.
What does an American look like?
Us.
Yeah.
Us.
I feel like it's human nature just to group people up. You know, obviously we're different because we have different skin tones or different body sizes, but I feel like it's human nature just to basically, do that.
If you say we don't have a label and you say we are united, we're just America, then it's easy to say we don't have these problems because overall, we're a proud nation.
Having these labels is what's bringing the conversation to the table. Like, I could be in the same room as someone who is racist against Arabs, but if we never talk about it, I'm sure we'd get along great, but we'd never get rid of those issues. And as soon as that label is put on the table, I mean, like, who knows what will happen.
So I just did, I just, because I'm in school right now, right? And so I'm in my 4th year of this school. And so there was an exercise of which the teacher, she had us, like, I would take your hand and they would say, what color is he? So I don't identify you as Asian or whatever, right? I just see what your color is. And I had a hard time letting go of the fact that I'm Black, right? So if you were to take my hand, what color do you see? But I identify myself as Black, right? So it's something about holding on to the identity for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but it's like this, I don't want to let it go because obviously it gives me something.
It's worthy of celebration to say, yes, we are all human beings, but we're all different too. So my husband is Black. If I didn't see his color, I would be completely erasing his experience as a Black man in America. He has a different experience because of people's perceptions of his color.
You should see color. It's how you see color that's the problem. It's how you stereotype the labels that's the issue.
Until you've been followed in a store, until you've been body shamed, until you've been pulled over randomly at an airport, until you've been asked, so where are you from? Like, where are you really from?
It's a scary conversation to have. And the minute we start labeling these things is the minute we can have the conversation. And if I don't label it, then I don't need to have the conversation.
You know, I would like to get to a point in my lifetime, or maybe my nephew's lifetime, where we can look at everybody and go, awesome, you're Arab, cool, you're Black, awesome, you're a woman and you're white, you're Asian, sweet, we're all one.
Right.
But until we get there, I'm proud to wear my label of being, you know, a Chicana, a Latina.
Like the word diversity to me should be changed to complexity.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
That's
so
we're
good.
just so complex, no matter what the race, the culture. I want to like speak for myself and say, I'm a Black female who's 37, who has an eating disorder, who is also an actor, who is in a relationship, who doesn't have any children. It's complex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's complex.
And that could change from morning to
And
after
that
lunch.
can change all throughout the day.
There's something appealing about the hunger for curiosity.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something, and I think that's why storytelling is so great.
It's the nature.
Yeah.
It's simply the nature.
Yeah. So if we get curious about each other and don't like stick in our bubble, I think that actually can save the world. I think that because that is where you get to the unifying things. That's how if you dig deep and you realize, oh, someone who has been criticized their whole life for what they look like, all of a sudden I remember the places where I've been criticized and I go, oh, that we have common ground there. Like, so in a sense we are all the same, but it's through the differences where you get there.
What do you think? Right? So we've been sharing these ideas of that, you know, here at Centers for Spiritual Living, there is that idea of we are all one, right? And we affirm our oneness, and we affirm the inherent oneness that is back of all creation, that each one of us is made of that same divine stuff. Each one of us is the divine emanation and impartation of the one life of Spirit itself. And I've talked to you, and we've spoken, and we've conversed about how we can fall into spiritual bypass if we allow ourselves to fall into spiritual bypass around that. By refusing to see color, by refusing to see the differences, by refusing to see our uniqueness, then we are, as the one woman said there, we are denying lived experience. We are denying, and we are trying to erase, if you will, the uniqueness that each one of us brings. And see, Spirit is so wonderful and so magnificent that it encompasses all of life and all of creation. And the way that you experience life and how you come into this life and the way your your color or your race or your ethnicity or your ability or your age or whatever experience you may have, all influences and all is part of your unique individualization of the one. We talked about it last week when she said complexity. That was just so beautiful. It reminded me of how we talked about every one of us as multicultural in a different way, depending on what our job is and how we walk in the world, how we experience the world, that we're constantly navigating these complexities. And it's these complexities that then allow us to interact with one another and that also allow us to bump up against one another, right? And those complexities also allow us to take a deeper dive, to have a deeper understanding, to acknowledge what is present, and also to see the wholeness and the integrity, the totality of being. So there was also another example this morning from the morning table, again, that was so rich, that one of the participants has in their life somebody who is completely on the opposite end of the spectrum from them for politics, okay? Complete opposite end of the spectrum. But in navigating the differences, in navigating the uniqueness, in coming together and being curious about one another, like the women said in the video, coming together in curiosity, not from like, ooh, I wonder what you're like or what you're about, but just kind of coming together in an openness, there was the opportunity to discover that they both shared another thing that is completely in common with one another, that is fairly unique, perhaps, in the societies that they live and work in otherwise. But there's this one thing that they so come together on that is so innate and so at the very center of who they are and how they navigate the world, that they establish this wonderful friendship. And so that when they are experiencing this one particular thing, they know that there's another person in their life that totally understands it, totally gets it, and they can go to them. So that's what I mean by when we have the opportunity, like I was sharing last week, to educate ourselves and to look at the different positions and different experiences and the different cultures and traditions, right? When we respect, right? Take responsibility for educating ourselves on these things. When we respect each other and we respect who we are, then we have the ability to have a broader perspective. We have the ability to connect with one another deeper. We have the ability to touch more lives. We have the ability to learn more and embrace more and hold more of the divine. Because we're experiencing the divine in a multitude of ways. How boring it would be if all there was the color yellow. Right? If all you saw, sorry Beverly, you're wearing yellow, so. And you're the only one in here wearing yellow, so good on you. But how boring life would be, right? If it was all just shades of gray. And so in looking at getting deeper and connecting with one another, when we can see our differences and we can recognize our differences, it is when we embrace those differences, it's when we embrace the particular that the universal is revealed. I'll say that one more time. When we embrace the particular, then the universal is revealed. Yeah? You understanding that one? Letting that one kind of like drop into the pool of consciousness and kind of sink to the bottom and stir up the waters a little bit? Yeah. All right. So what I would like to do in this moment, because Roxanne gave me some wonderful feedback that she really loves when I do this, so thank you, Roxanne. calling you out on that one, is she loves when we have the opportunity together to do a little bit of spiritual practice in here, to really make it applicable to our lives, which is what I'm hoping we do always, is that we're applying these teachings and these ideas to our lives. But to be able to do it in community, to be able to do it in spiritual practice together. So I'd like to do a brief closed eye process here. So if you would make yourselves comfortable. And I invite you to just close your eyes. And so this exercise comes from Ram Dass. And it's based on a quote from the Dalai Lama. And this exercise is called Just Like Me. We did something similar a couple of weeks ago, but this is a little bit different. So let's just take this in and breathe this in. So what I invite you to do is I invite you to allow somebody to come to your consciousness, your awareness, that is different from you in some way. Perhaps it's a group of people, perhaps it's one person, perhaps it's somebody you're curious about, or perhaps it's somebody you have a challenge with. Doesn't matter who. Work with whatever image you choose, whatever person or people, group of people you choose. And allow them to kind of just sit before you in consciousness. And say silently to yourself or to this person in front of you, in acknowledgement of this person, not necessarily to them. This person has at some point been sad, disappointed, angry, or hurt, just like me. This person has a body and a mind, just like me. This person has feelings, emotions, and thoughts, just like me. This person has in his or her life experienced physical and emotional pain and suffering, just like me. This person has felt unworthy or inadequate, just like me. This person worries and is frightened sometimes, just like me. This person has longed for friendship, just like me. This person is learning about life, just like me. This person wants to be caring and kind to others, just like me. This person wants to be content with what life has given, just like me. This person wishes to be free from pain and suffering, just like me. This person wishes to be safe and healthy, just like me. This person wishes to be happy, just like me. This person wishes to be loved, just like me. So I wish for this person that they have the strength and resources and social support to navigate the difficulties in life with ease. I wish that this person be free from pain and suffering. I wish that this person be peaceful and happy. And I wish that this person be loved, because this person is a fellow human being This person is my brother, my sister, my sibling. This person is just like me. And breathe that in. And come back to the room when you're ready. See, when we're honoring all people, when we're honoring somebody, we're affirming their presence, just like me. It's about having compassion. It's about having empathy. It's about having love. It's about seeing and hearing the person. It's about seeing the totality of their being, seeing their wholeness, and celebrating that which makes them uniquely them. Because those ideas are not conflicting. There's a totality and a wholeness, and then there is a uniqueness. So in many ways, I find one of the practices that we can engage in on a daily basis when we are honoring all people, when we're honoring each other, is the practice of acknowledgement. And what I mean by acknowledgement, and what I invite you to do this week by acknowledgement, is not to just see somebody, not to just hear somebody, not to just go, oh, hi, yeah, great, thank you, or not to give them a compliment, Chester, I really like your hat today, right? Or just pay him a compliment, or a simple thank you. I could have said, thank you, Sabrina Lawrence dance team, right? That's gratitude. I could have said, thank you, Al. That's gratitude. That's expressing gratitude. That's expressing a thank you. But how much more impactful and how much more important is it to, or would it be, to say, to really acknowledge, right? So feel the difference between thank you, Sabrina Lawrence dance team, and I really want to acknowledge and appreciate the Sabrina Lawrence dance team for bringing their gifts and talents here this morning, for bringing with them their friends and their family and their supporters, for bringing their energy and their life force and their ministry of movement to the sanctuary, because it's so richly contributed to the service this morning. It so richly contributed to the larger ministry of Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. That's an acknowledgement. See the difference? Right? See the difference? How do you feel when I say something like that versus, thanks, Michelle, for stepping in for Tony to run the slides? Right? Yeah. Michelle's my sister. We can play that like that. Versus, thank you, Michelle, for taking time to be here this morning and doing the slides last night. I know that you just moved into your new place yesterday with the kids. I know that there was a lot of chaos in your day yesterday, and you found the time to do the slides and be here this morning. So I acknowledge you and thank you. See what a difference that is? I mean, a simple thank you might have been all right, because it's my sister. Maybe. I'd pay for it later, probably. Whereas an acknowledgement is so much more. So who in your life today can you acknowledge? Feel how that changes the way we relate with one another. Feel the connection that we have with each other when we acknowledge each other. And because the acknowledgement itself takes so much more awareness, it takes so much more consciousness, it takes so much more willingness to be engaged with one another. right? And when we are engaged with one another, when we are conscious of one another, then we are affirming each other's presence and we are honoring one another. And it's so easy to come from that place of just simple acknowledgement. It's a simple place to start. It's a simple place to start. So I want to say thank you for being here this morning. And I want to acknowledge you for being here this morning, for taking the time out of your life to be here and for making the choice to be here, to deepen, to grow, and to firm, to be here and be part of this community, to be here and take this message of emboldening people to live their highest potential out into the world, for saying yes to the call upon your life, for saying yes to being part of the community, for saying yes to loving one another, for saying yes to doing the work within yourself so that we may continue to go out and do the work in the world. That is what I want to thank you for this morning. I want to thank you for seeing each other and seeing me in our totality and for affirming our presence. And so it is. Thank you, Gary. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you. All right, so I invite our practitioners and our core council to please stand and surround the sanctuary. Wow, everybody's back from vacation. Look at this. So these folks are in prayer for you on a daily basis. They pray for this community. They pray for the city of Riverside, our nation, our planet. And they pray for you when you have submitted a prayer request in our prayer request box or online or via Facebook, or send us an email or give us a call. They are in prayer for you 24/7. They walk living their life as prayer and as prayer answered. So please do not leave here with anything heavy on your heart. As we mentioned before, please come and see Jeannie or Constance at the front of the sanctuary after service and receive one-on-one prayer if you would like to receive that this morning. So let's just come together in consciousness now, shall we? Breathing into that peace that passes all understanding. I recognize that there is just this one life. And it is peace, it is harmony, it is joy. And from itself, through itself, as itself, it brought forth all of life, all of creation, individualized expressions of itself, individualized expressions of love. And it is these collective, individualized expressions that is the joy and the beauty of the divine. For we are each made in the image and likeness. And so I know that each is good and very good. That truly we are the beloved in whom we are each well pleased. I recognize that I am one with that I am that I am. That it is the very nature of my being, it is the truth of my being, it is the totality of my being. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of all of life, of all of creation, of everyone present here. That each one is the presence of the divine. Fully alive here, fully present in this moment. And so I speak my word here for this community, recognizing that we go forth and do great work in this world. That each one of us is the affirming presence of love. Each one of us is the affirming presence of light. Each one of us is the affirming presence of peace, of joy, of harmony. Each one of us is the affirming presence of the one. And we go forth from this place this day, affirming the truth of who we are, affirming the wholeness of life, the integrity of life, the truth of life. We see it in each other's faces. We see it in the faces of those we have yet to meet. We recognize each living being as brother, sister, and sibling, a divine emanation and impartation of spirit. And so it is the presence within each one of us that meets the presence within everyone else and everything else. Joining together in love and in harmony, in peace and freedom. It is our love that liberates us. And so I simply give thanks for this recognition. I give thanks for this realization. I give thanks for a world that works for everyone in all of creation, for that is what we are calling forth here and now. Honoring all of life, all people, all of creation. I simply release this word into the law. I let it be so, and together we affirm, and so it is.